Hello YouTube, this is Frank. This is October 17th. This is my 73rd video in my third Advanced Programming in the Unix Environment video. Now we've set up the potato, we've set up NetBSD, and now let's set up our potato for the class CS631 Advanced Programming in the Unix Environment. And this is our motto, and we're going to university to learn advanced programming in the Unix environment. I'm going to take my board down. All right, let's see if I can blow up my screen. Let's see here, like that. So let's scroll down. We've got our potato running. We've got our root. We got our packages. Okay, now let's set up the potato for the class. Now, I like to make backup copies of all my files, an offline copy. Put them on the USB. Now, in my experience, the IT department, they say they do daily backups, but the problem is over time the machines and names and paths change, and sometimes the backup system just fails silently, and sometimes the backups can fail for months if the IT department does not check their backup logs. This is, in my experience, this is not uncommon. And also, if the internet is down, I can't retrieve my backups from the cloud. So I do my own backups, local backups. So let's show you how to mount a USB, and that's chapter 13. I'm going to back up to chapter 13. Using removable media. Now they do have some information here on how to do this, and I'll show you what I do. There's a disk label. All right, let's go over here to my potato, and here's our USB stick. I'm going to need to put this on our potato. And we do. There's our diagnostic messages, and it's the SD0. Now, you have to have, I usually go over to the root whenever I mount these things. To mount or unmount, you have to have root privileges. And that's what that adding the user to the wheel group does. So just super user, SU, password for the root. Okay, now, so there's our SD0. Now for disk label, I usually put in the full path of DEV SD0. Now when it completes, now this is what we're looking for right here, the MS-DOS partition on that USB stick right there. When let me just list right here. There's the mount subdirectory there. Now, on these systems, you'll usually see either a media or a mount subdirectory, and that's where we usually mount these USBs. It used to be in the past you had to list a whole bunch of options out here, but now they've kind of got it streamlined a little bit. SD0E, and we want to mount it on the mount subdirectory, and we've got it mounted. I'm going to exit out of here, out of the root. Who am I? And we're our local user. Now I'm going to make a directory called My Installs. And in My Installs, I'm going to make a directory called TDE for my editor. Change directory, and we can just list the files on our USB. Now to copy files off of the ESB, it's just copy, mount, and I'm going to copy that file right there. In Unix, uppercase and lowercase, they are significant. And I want to copy here in my directory I'm in, and with the list. Now I want to expand that tar file. Now I usually use the XVF to expand those tar files. Let's see. Let me change directory over here. Now when you expand files, there's our files, but let's just do a long listing. Sometimes you'll see that it expands everything with the executable attribute there, and there's probably some option somewhere that that keeps it keeps the original attributes. But if you run into this, I usually use the change mod command, user group and other, and take the executable attribute off of there for all those files in the directory right here. Now if we, it looks the same, but if you do the long listing, -L, there we took the executable off the those files. Now I'm going to compile my editor with oops, let me do a listing, make file, make NetBSD. Now that J2 right there, that's using 2 cores in the potato. It has 4 cores, but I normally don't use all 4 cores unless I can see the temperature. And let me pause this right here. All right, my program has compiled. Now I am going to run it. Now to run programs, it's / and then the name of the program. Now I kind of wanted to show you this. There's a diagnostic, and if you do the SYTTY-A. Now, see, there's 0 rows and 0 columns for our in our current consoles session right here. Now, see, how can you open up an editor that has 0 rows and 0 columns? Well, there's a command, reset. Now, when you use these terminal windows, type, if your terminal gets messed up, just type reset, and it comes back. And so if we do the STTY-A, and now we can see we've got 24 rows, 80 columns, and that's, sometimes you run into this. So I kind of wanted to show you what to do if you run into a problem like that. And now we can run our editor, and it comes up, and we can edit our files. Now I wrote my editor my own self, and I'll be using this. It's kind of like the editors that you used to see in the 1980s and 1990s. Just a simple text editor. It's in the public domain. It's based on the Douglas Thompson's editor. Yeah, there's 1989. So let's get out of here. Now, see, you don't really have to install an edit, a package. Let's just type env environment. If we look at our environment, in our path, we can see that the home, our user, APUE, and bin. So actually, if we were to, let me just see where I'm at here. Print working directory. This is where I'm at. So if we were to make, let me back up here, env. So if we were to make a directory under home, APU, and bin, because we don't, it does not, it doesn't automatically create that directory when you create a user, so you have to kind of make that directory your own self. And it's bin. Now we can copy our executable over to the bin directory that we just created. It's copy. I'm switching between, I have trouble switching between Windows and Unix here. Sometimes I forget. All right, now we've got, when I run through the class, just type TDE, and here's my editor. And I've got everything set up locally. All right, let's see here now, where am I at? That was that editor. I'm going to get back to my notes, see where I'm at here. We still got the that USB stick in our potato. Now we need to unmount that. To unmount that USB. Switch back over to the super user. And now we can unmount. Let's U-mount that TEV SD0E. Oops, 0E. Now wait for the pound sign to return. Sometimes if you're copying files over to that USB, it may take you a minute or two for that operation to complete. So you wait till you get the pound sign. And another thing, maybe I'm going to unmount this right here. Now another thing is, if you're kind of new to this, I would recommend using a kind of a blank USB with no important files on there. So if you've got any important files, don't put them on here. If you're just starting out, you may make a mistake and lose your important files. So use a blank USB first before you kind of test out mounting and unmounting and copying files. So now I can exit out. Who am I? See, I'm the root. I'm going to exit out of root. Now, who am I? And now I'm back as a regular user. Let me see. Let me get back to my notes. Oh, using PuTTY, because now we've got our we've got our potato set up for a console cable, but let's set it up for so we can secure shell into that thing. Now, one of the popular ways of getting over there is, oops, let me get back over here to oops, wrong. Let me close that window so I can. PuTTY. This is my PuTTY. You just go to the download, and it takes you over here to this screen. Now, it does, the first choice that it has is you can install it with that Windows installer. Now, I do not do that. I just don't like to install programs on my computer if I can help it. So I go scroll down here to the bottom, and this is the one that I get. The zip that has all the executables in here. Okay, we did that. Now let's go over here to my download, and there's our zip file out here, and let's scan for viruses. All right, 0 threats found. Now, whenever that completes, I usually go down to properties and unblock it because I've scanned it for viruses. Unblock, apply, and OK. Now I'm going to copy and paste it over here on my directory that I've got set up for on my Windows machine, PuTTY. I've got a subdirectory, and just paste it. And now we can unzip it, extract here. All right. Now there's the executable PuTTY. Now this is fairly easy to use compared to Kermit. Just double click PuTTY, and there's our window to connect. Now let me just go back over here to our Kermit. Now when we connect over the shell, secure shell, we can either use the machine, the user and the machine, or we can use the IP address. Let me type the if config. Now this is one method, and there's the IP address right here that we're connecting to, 192.168.1.28. So if we go over here to our session and type in 192.168.1.28 and hit enter. Oops, open. Oops, I missed it. I went to the wrong window. Uh, 192.168.1.28. Okay, now open, and we're connecting to our local potato right here, so we can accept this. And now we can log in as our user, APUE, and our password. All right, so now we've got a secure shell. Now that's one way of connecting to the potato over. We can use PuTTY. Another way is Windows. Windows 10 has a secure shell in here. Let me just see, this is Windows 10. And there's our Windows, these are my notes right here. So let's get a secure shell. And how do you do that? Well, just kind of go down to the, scroll down to the Windows system and get a command prompt. Now, it's easy, just SSH secure shell and our user, APUE, at ARM64. That's our host name. This is where that's coming from. See our host name right here, ARM64. That's where that's coming from. So you can either use the IP address or the host machine name. And you just mash return. Now I've installed this several times, kind of preparing for my video. Now if you see this right here, now to get rid of that, or well, to reset it, you have to type in another command. It's secure shell, keygen, keygen dash R, capital R, and ARM64. And that'll reset their keys for this, for the potato. Now we can do the secure shell, APUE, at ARM64. And yes. Are you sure you want to continue? Yes. And now there's our password. All right, there's our secure shell into to the potato on Windows 10. See, there's our bin that we installed, and there's my installs. Now let me get. We've got just a little bit more to go. Let me get over here to my notes. Now this is the. I want to set up the potato for Professor Schaumann's class, and I want to make a directory for CS631. That's his class, and change directory to CS. And I want to download all of his sample code for his class. So we go up here to his website. Now there are several ways to do this. I'm just going to show you one way. All code examples. See right here? Just kind of right click and copy the link. And we go back over here to our shell. Now I'm going to use FTP, and you just right click and it pops up the code right there, and it got it's got our sample code for the course. And tar, I use tar XVF. There are several ways to do this. Now, to kind of compare this to that USB that we did before on my last video, or on my last USB, change directory to A. Now if we do a change directory to our first code, if we do an ls, this is the code, and if we do a ls long, see there it kept all of his attributes. It doesn't have the executable on there. That's kind of what I was wanting to show you. Let's see now. Now Professor Schaumann. Now in our first lecture, he goes through compiling our welcome code right here. Now let me show you what I'm going to do now. When I set up my computer to go through the class, I am going to go to System. Now I'm going to scale this back, zoom out a good bit. You may not be able to see what I'm doing, but just to give you the kind of the broad idea, let me blank that out. Okay, there's our window with our sample code in there. Now let's get another window, another shell, Windows system, another command prompt, and I'm going to move this down right here, and secure shell over to APUE. APUE at ARM64, and our password. All right. Now let's change directory over there to CS, and change over to our code, and change over there to that first lesson. Okay, now let's get another window, another command prompt, system, and then the command prompt. Now I'm going to drag this one over here, and let's secure shell over there, APUE at ARM64. Did I spell that right? So it should come up. Okay, there it is. Our password. All right. Change directory over there to our change directory to the APUE code, and change directory to that first listen. Okay, now when Professor Schaumann, when he first starts out, I'm going to edit that first. Got an editor. Now, see, in one window you can bring up an editor. I'm going to change the palette on this though. Oops. Okay, so I've got an editor in this window. Now I can compile our code. Oops. Change to this window. GCC. Welcome. And there's our compiler diagnostics. And now in this window over here, let's see, we can bring up the man page for get login. And that's what I wanted to kind of show you. You can have several windows open, have your text editor here, your compiler diagnostics, and then your a man page. So that's setting up the potato for Professor Schaumann's class. So thank you for watching. We'll go through the class.